support. We certainly cannot do what we do without the support of this council and of the community. And we do customer service surveys, and we always get back good feedback, good responses from our customers, high ratings, and when we get one that's not high rated, we find out why it was not. So we appreciate that community support. Our ISO rating, currently a class 3, as you know, that's on a 1 to 10 scale, with 1 being the best. 3 is very good. It could be better, but it's very, very good. So we certainly appreciate or are very pleased with that. And then finally, we are accredited. We were accredited 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, as you remember. Our weaknesses, one big one, key one, is our lack of ability to maintain 4-person companies. And you know, this was a strength, but unfortunately we lost positions because of the budget cuts 2 years ago, 2012. So we're not able to maintain those 4-person companies. In fact, can't even assign it 4-person companies. And that is a weakness. There's nationally recognized standards that indicate that. The National Fire Protection Association, the recommendations for a minimum of 4 firefighters on companies. And we'll talk some more about that in a minute with the threats. The lack of a professional development program. One thing that we have tried to do over the last few years is to implement a professional development program in the fire department that would be great on that succession planning and in preparing employees to move to that next step. The one thing that we're lacking is the pay incentives to go with that. This would be a similar program that other departments have done, and certainly something that we feel like is a weakness for us right now. We are out of compliance with our fire inspection schedule. We were in compliance up until 2012, and that's when we, again, unfortunately lost the positions. We are out of compliance with that now. The last data I had on that, we're about 500 inspections behind on that inspection schedule. And the last one is our lack of dedicated public education programs. And again, we had those until up until 2012, when we lost the positions and had to discontinue those programs. Our opportunities. What can we do to make things better? We have a huge opportunity to increase our employee safety, and that's by going back to those 4-person companies that we spoke about earlier. To increase our public safety by getting back on schedule with the inspection schedule that I spoke about earlier, so that we can, if there is a hazard out here in the public building, that hopefully we would find that. To improve our effectiveness, there's various studies. I mentioned the 4-person companies. One, the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, recently did some studies on fire department, firefighter effectiveness, fire company effectiveness, and those consistently showed, both in residential and commercial tasks, that the 4-person companies were much more effective than a 2- or 3-person company. A variety of tasks that they were doing, fire-related tasks, and consistently they were more effective with the 4-person companies. To maintain quality personnel, and again, I feel like that the implementation of that professional development program would help us, would certainly help us in that. Lower our commercial insurance costs. That's something we're always trying to do, is improve on. I mentioned our ISO rating earlier. We're currently at a class 3. Of course, a reduction in that would bring insurance costs down for our commercial and businesses. So certainly, we're always trying to do that. Threats. And many of these go hand in hand. You know, once a weakness becomes a threat, a weakness becomes an opportunity, so many of these go hand in hand. Again, firefighter safety, with operating as less than 4-person companies, is a threat to our employee safety. It just is, and that's something that we certainly need to address. The increased public risk, again, if it's not meeting that inspection schedule, we don't want to miss something that's out there, a hazard in a public building. Our liability, I feel like there's a liability to the city in not meeting that inspection schedule. Loss of quality personnel, and again, speaking here about the pay incentives, the professional development program, I do want to say thank you for the action you took earlier for the raise in next year's budget. Our employees certainly need that, so thank y'all for doing that, for considering that. Anything you can do for our employees, they need that, and we certainly appreciate that. Another threat's increased commercial insurance costs should we have a digression in our ISO rating. Loss of accreditation status. As you recall, we were accredited in 2012, in August of 2012. We actually had a site visit in February of 2012. At that point, we were meeting all the core competencies. And unfortunately, when we lost the positions in the spring of 2012, we're no longer meeting all these core competencies. So that's a threat. Finally, the loss of community confidence, and that's certainly something that we don't want to do as a fire department or as a city. We got tremendous support and confidence from the community, and certainly we don't want to lose that. So we have structured our budget request to mitigate these weaknesses and threats, and so hopefully we'll be able to do that through this budget process. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
The only thing I want to say, Chief, is that I hope that we don't lose our accreditation status. Fire and police both are accredited internationally, and it's something that we need to maintain as much as we can, and that's certainly going to be a priority for me, and I'm sure it's for you.
I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
Mayor, members of City Council, I would suggest probably, that's probably the last SWAT. I've got some closing comments that I would offer, and then that will leave you some time to those that care to grab the sandwiches that we've gotten for the group. I'd like to thank the staff for the presentations that were provided today. I think you certainly raised the bar for the rest of us for March 17th and April 7th. I don't intend to rehash each of the presentations for you, but I would like to provide emphasis for your continuing evaluation for resourcing strategies and resourcing decisions, if you could. This highlights my takeaways on a couple sets of presentations. First, with facilities utilization. I think our facilities are being used adequately. In a later presentation, staff will present insights on the degree deferred maintenance is affecting those buildings as well as other areas of our capital plan. However, what I would pose to you as a broader question is, does the city adequately deliver recreational services across the spectrum of citizen interests in a cost-effective manner? And are we doing so in an equitable manner across all neighborhoods? Is that important to you? For instance, are we matching programs to demand? Is that important? Are we eliminating those lacking a following? Are we eliminating programs that lack a following, or adding programs that are in demand that we haven't quite gotten to? Is there interest in developing facilities for clusters of neighborhoods? In terms of branding, I think we got the message on that. friendly. In terms of the SWOT presentations, we heard from 3 of our department heads, HR, and there was a theme I think that you probably picked up across the first of 3 departments, but HR led the initiative, so to speak, in the form of pay and benefits is increasingly affecting our organization. And what the board did today will send a very positive message across the staff, and on behalf of the staff, thank you for what y'all done. It surprised me, but it's nice to be surprised. Finance. And my takeaway is finance is feeling the impact of technology and policy obsolescence. Fire spoke to staffing shortages and also feels the effects of inadequate compensation. I don't know that I don't suggest us allocating time today for you to prioritize what you've heard. I'm interested in providing that opportunity to you. I'd like to approach that through email, perhaps, and ask that following each of the scheduled presentations today, 17th, April 7th, that you prioritize what you've heard. We'll collect it back from you, either Bridget or myself, and that will help me make some decisions on resourcing and better position the board for your discussion of the budget down the road. I thank you for your attention, and as a conclusion to this session, Bruce, you could advance about 4 or 5 slides. There you go. I'd like to place that up there just as a reminder of what we've got coming up for you on the 17th and April 7th. On the 17th, employee retention strategies, master plan implementation, industry recruitment and acquisition, along with airport as a catalyst, and then we'll continue on with the SWOT presentations. And April 7th, deferred maintenance, facilities, streets, sidewalks, staffing challenges, and hopefully conclude on our SWOT presentations if that did not occur on the 17th. And we will, if not before on April 7th, we'll provide y'all with, I'd like to provide y'all with a fiscal update, what we understand is going on with the reevaluation and some other things. Our revenue projections should be a little tighter at that point.
Are you through with your part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got a call from a parent from Benton Heights School in regards to using a piece of equipment that is the city's, which is a snowmaking machine, and they were told that they would not be able to use it, and I was of the assumption that we always accommodated our schools on a request that they may have in this regard. This would be for parents and kids, which was a right big event for that school, and I would surely like to see us accommodate them with the use of this piece of equipment.
What I would ask, had just a little bit of insights on that. The city basic policy is we're not having loaning out equipment, and if that's the interest of the board, I would ask if y'all may put that in form of a motion in a second. But,
I had a call with also. I'll make a motion that based in, as far as schools go, when they do want to borrow a piece of equipment such as stage, snowmaking machine, or what have you, that we do accommodate their wishes, and that's my motion.
I have a question. I don't have a problem with schools borrowing, but I've been interested to find out what the policy is as far as lending it, who requested, who's responsible for it, that kind of thing, just not lending blindly.
I think what he just said, we needed to change it. We need a motion and a vote to.
I don't know what the.
Well, I think
Well,
what
what
she's
she's talking
asking,
about is what's the current policy.
Right.
Apparently, the current policy is no loaning of any equipment from the city. Is that correct?
I'm not sure what it says. I'm not sure it says that. And it may.
If they're using
When
it,
is
to pay,
the,
that must not be it.
When is the event? When is the event for Benton Heights?
In the next week or 10 days. I had the same call, and it's early March, and I say the next week.
If I could, and then start making a motion. But if that motion could just be limited to this one event and this one piece of equipment loaned out to that particular parent until staff can evaluate what types of equipment we might have that schools might want to borrow, and come back to us with a policy that we can adopt that would accommodate all events and all schools and all
Mayor.
parents that might.
Mayor, what I would suggest is, so that you don't run into any legal issues, is that perhaps it's not restricting it to this one because you don't want to turn it into an exclusive emolument in any way, but to allow it for a short period of time, and that would
Okay,
cover,
well, a
of
short
course.
period of time.
That would be a lot, much better.
Whatever we need to do to accommodate this parent, and until the staff can come back to us with a policy that we can consider and adopt.
I don't have a problem with
Well, I have a motion and a second. I do have a second, is that correct?
And Mr. Kazai, is that intended to be all schools, public and private, or
that.
just
That would be,
In the city.
in the city.
within the city? Thank you, sir.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Who made the second? I'm sorry.
I thought you did you not?
I did.
Okay, I have a second here. You must have just discussed it, right? I have a motion, now I have a motion and a second. Are there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that was passed. All righty, this time we'll break for